What is up, everybody? Jack here, back with a free agent review video. Going to be talking about the top free agents, where they went. Uh, so really excited to do this video. There hadn't been a lot of action really, and in this free agency, and I'm really excited to do this and just talk about my opinions of all these signings, and what I thought would happen, what didn't happen, etc. So just gonna be talking about the guys who I haven't talked about yet. Right now I am on a top, like a top 60 free agents list for CBS. So I'm just gonna kind of go down that list and talk about everybody. It's gonna be probably a pretty long video, but let's get into it. So first off, starting off, JT Realmuto re-signs with the Phillies. 5 years for $115 million. Not a fan of this contract at all. First off, the Phillies outbidded themselves. I don't know a single team who would have given Realmuto that amount of money, or even relatively close to that amount of money and that amount of years. So, I mean, who else is in the market for like a catcher besides the Phillies right now? I mean, seriously, like maybe the Yankees, but they don't have the money to do it. Not the Red Sox. They have Christian Vasquez. I mean, really, like if you just think about it, like there are not a lot of teams that are really interested in a long-term guy like Real Muto. The only two are really, the only other one that I can truly think about, I guess, is the Nats. But they're kind of cap clogged right now with all their money they have on their payroll. So I don't like the deal for the Phillies. Overall, I think Real Muto is a good player. I don't think he's great. He's a very good defensive catcher. He's not elite though, I don't think. Great pop time. However, his framing can improve. And in terms of offense, I think he's a good offensive player. I don't think he's elite. Like he'll probably have like 20 to 25 home runs and hit like 278, which is good. But that's not elite offense, and I don't think it guarantees that contract. That's just my opinion on it. Moving on next, the biggest signing so far, Trevor Bauer goes to the Dodgers. Out of left field here, man. I really thought he was going to the Mets. That's what, Buster Olney, Tim Kirchin, all those guys were saying, I'm willing to bet this, bet that Bauer will be a New York Met, and that's just not what happened. For me, honestly, this makes sense for Bauer because he can definitely, I think, win a World Series with the Dodgers in one of those 2 years in that contract, which he's getting paid $40 and $45 million. Which is just incredible. But it's the Dodgers using their payroll flexibility really to their advantage. So hats off to them for that. And I think what Bauer's trying to do is, in one of these 2 years, win a World Series, cement further his legacy as a great player. I think he wants to be in the Hall of Fame, and then sign that big deal with the Yankees or the Red Sox for 9 years for $270 million, whatever. To kind of end off his career. But one of these 2 years, contract is for 3 years, but he's obviously going to opt out after year 2 because he can get so much more money. So it's really a 2-year deal for $85 million. But one of those 2 years, I think he will win the World Series and further bolster his status as an elite pitcher and someone who deserves a very big long-term contract. So that's my opinion on it. Yankees, moving on to them, re-signed DJ LeMahieu. Great team-friendly contract. I think it was 6 years for $90 million. Great deal. Really good deal. Really, team-friendly. Clearly he wanted to stay in New York, and they got him locked up for a while at, a really good annual average value for LeMahieu. So hats off to them for that. Really good. Marcell Ozuna re-signs with the Braves. Really bummed out on this one. I wanted the Red Sox to get him. Definitely could have put him in left field. They had the payroll to do it. Put him in left field in Fenway. You really don't need to be a good defender at all to be there. and Ozuna's just an offensive powerhouse. I mean, he hits the ball hard no matter what. No matter, he might hit 250, but he's gonna hit the ball really hard. He's gonna get on base a lot, and he's gonna hit home runs. And Fenway would have been the perfect park for him. So disappointed about that. And Braves also 60. I think it's 4 for 64. That's like 16 a year. Great deal for them. I think it is gonna be, if they don't have a DH, it's gonna be kind of dicey having him in the outfield because that is not a good. The Braves outfield is not a good outfield to have a bad defender in. It's a deep park with a big outfield, and you really need some good defenders in that outfield. So that will hurt them. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I mean, he's just a great offensive player. So yeah, that's that. Justin Turner is not signed yet. Honestly, if you put a gun to my head, I'm gonna go bold here. I think he's gonna go to the Brewers. Brewers need a third baseman. Sort of. I don't know. They did sign Colton Wong, so I don't really know who's gonna play third for. Like, is Castanera gonna play third? I really don't know. Or Luis Urias. I think he might go to the Brewers. That's just my prediction. But the Brewers, after signing Colton Wong, I guess, don't really have a need for him. By the way, shout out to the Brewers. I thought that was a great signing. They really needed some more offensive firepower in their offense. And I know Colton Wong didn't have a good offensive season, but I think he'll turn it around, and he's a solid bat, great defender to have in your lineup. So now their infield's going to be, apparently Hira is playing first base. So Hira at first, Colton Wong second, Arcia shortstop, then third base Urias or Justin Turner potentially. And then Michael Brantley re-signs with the Houston Astros, 2 years for $16 million per year, so $32 million total. Really like the sign for the Astros. This was something that they needed. They need, after losing Springer, you got to bring Brantley back if you want to be competitive with the A's. Because if they didn't bring Brantley, but if they lost Brantley and Springer, their outfield would have been Kyle Tucker, who's great, but then Chase McCormick and Miles Straw, and Miles Straw can't hit, a feather out of the park. That was terrible, but no power whatsoever. So really needed Brantley just for that offense there, and just to stay competitive, and they got him. So good job by them. Andrelton Simmons signs with the Twins. Very interesting contract here. I don't know what's gonna happen to Jorge Polanco now. Maybe he goes to second. A lot of people are really down on him. They also have Royce Lewis too. I have no idea when he's coming up. He's a top 10 prospect, number 1 pick. Would love to see him play in the major leagues, but I guess they don't really plan on bringing him in. So Simmons to the Twins. Obviously, I'm a huge Simmons fan. One of the best analytical players of all time. I mean, DRS of at least 15 every season. Probably one of the greatest defensive shortstops of all time. And that's just a fact. You can't argue that. Besides for Ozzie Smith, I mean, he's got to be up there. And if he plays well offensively, then he's one of the best shortstops in the league. But he's got to find a niche for hitting there. Tanaka leaves the Yankees and goes to the Japan League. Kind of tough for the Yankees. But it's nice that he was like, all right, I'm either going to the Yankees or I'm leaving. So the Yankees kind of have a not great rotation coming into the season. I'm going to talk more about that when I do my division predictions. Marcus Semien signs with the Blue Jays. Love the signing for the Blue Jays. I guess Semien will play second base, Bichette at shortstop, and then probably Vlad at third. Or Kevin Biggio. I don't know. But Semien is, again, another player I love. I wonder where he's going to hit in the lineup. That'll be really interesting because you got Simeon and Springer, who are both leadoff hitters. Springer has to hit leadoff, I figure. Then I guess Simeon's second or third, and Bichette second or third. But they're gonna have a great lineup. Just improved a lot offensively. I love Simeon. I wanted the Red Sox to get him, and they didn't. So annoying. I mean, seriously, like, can you, like, I don't understand why we can't just do like 3 years for 45 million for Marcus Simeon. I mean, come on, like, seriously, just ridiculous. Really pissed, that really pissed me off. Like, instead we got Kike Hernandez. Like, do you know how much better Marcus Simeon is than Kike Hernandez? God, like, Kike Hernandez was like a platoon player for the Dodgers. Marcus Simeon, like, literally carried the A's offense. Like, he was an MVP candidate 2 years ago. He hits 275 like every year, probably 20 home runs, and has an on-base percentage of like 375. And he's a decent defender. Like, so annoying. Like, seriously. Sucks being a Red Sox fan now, dude. Honestly. JBJ hasn't signed anywhere. I don't know why he's number 12 on this list. I love Jackie Bradley Jr. He's one of my favorite Red Sox players, but he is being so over. And I'm so tired of seeing, like, on Twitter, like, these Mets fans, like, JBJ would be a great center field option. JBJ is an amazing defender. Amazing defender. But he's not a good hitter. Like, I'm sorry. He's not a good hitter. He struggles at the plate, like, consistently every year. Next, we got Jock Peterson, who goes to the Cubs. 1 year for $7 million. Interesting. Very interesting. Another guy I wanted the Red Sox to get. Interesting the Cubs did this, but smart by them. They cut Schwarber, and Schwarber goes 1 year for $10 million to the Nats. Then they get Jock Peterson, who's better than Schwarber, for $7 million. So they saved basically $3 million and got a better player, in my opinion. If you think Kyle Schwarber's better than Jock Peterson, you're on something, man. But yeah, I really like this by the Cubs. They also re-signed Jake Arrieta, which I like too. I think he could revive his career pitching for the Cubs. They're in need of starting pitching. So I don't think the Cubs will be great this year, but, like, watch out for them. I mean, they could be a low-key contender. Very low-key, though. Very low-key. Nelson Cruz re-signs with the Twins. Great job by the Twins, man. Locked him up for another year. Really need him. He's a big centerpiece to their offense. So really like that signing. And I'm happy Cruz stayed loyal, staying in Minnesota. James McCann goes to the Mets. I think we've already talked about this. 4 years for $40 million. Too many years. $10 million in a year, though, is respectable for McCann. I don't think he's probably a top 10 catcher, but definitely not top 5. Good offensive catcher, not a lot of power. Elite defensive catcher for sure. No arguing that. Didi Gregorius resigns with the Phillies. Good job by them. Locking him up for another year. They're in need of a shortstop, and they got him back, which is great. It's going to help their offense a lot. And, you know, hopefully they can have a better season. Colton Wong, obviously, talked about to the Crew. Already made a video out, Liam Hendricks. Great job by the White Sox getting him. Brad Hand goes to the Nats. So the Nats, you know, a little cap room left in their payroll, and they use that towards the bullpen guy and Brad Hand, which I think is smart. I think that's the best way they could have used that money. You're not going to get a great bat at $10 million that's available, so they use it for Brad Hand. I don't know if Brad Hand got $10 million, but I think he got somewhere around that. And, you know, good job. Boost your bullpen a bit with him, because their bullpen was pretty shaky last year. Also, they're losing Doolittle, so need to revive that bullpen a bit. Adam Wainwright resigns with the Cardinals. Great story. Happy he's back in St. Louis, as well as Yadier Molina. Happy those guys can stay in St. Louis. Cardinals legends, and they're going to stay there, which is great. So that's it for part 1. I'm going to make part 2 in a bit, but I'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.